Hey y'all, and welcome to another Why You Like This Song. Today's song is Both of Us by Jayda G. Again, I've never heard this song, so this is awesome. You guys keep sending in these songs that I don't know, and that's really great because this is a lot more fun if I've never heard the song before. In this video, I'm gonna do a little reaction to listening to the song, and then I'm gonna explain some of the music stuff that makes it cool. Don't worry, I'm not gonna get too complicated. If you've watched one of these videos before, you'll know that I'm gonna leave a link to it in the description, and then I'm not gonna play the whole song. If you haven't watched these videos before, now's a good time to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Of course, if you have watched a video before and you haven't done any of that stuff, come on, man, help a brother out. All right, well, without further ado, let's listen to the track. Cool little delayed vocals at the beginning. Sounds like there's a very low electronic bass line behind these drums. Cool, like delayed piano part there. Oh, we lost that rumbling bass line. Catchy little piano part for sure. Is that some 7 chords I hear in there? It's like a 4 on the floor kick drum and another kick drum pattern going at the same time here. Oh. Okay. Not mad at this bass. Oh. Definitely not mad at that in the bass line. I wonder if this person like plays this live a lot, because this is a lot of intro, and live that would be like slamming. Oh, here we go. Here's the song. Bang. Brought it real simple down when the vocals came in. It's another cool delay sound. Oh, I was expecting them to add another bass part there, but they added a higher sound. That's cool. I knew they were going to add something. There's that bass line. Oh, bumping that piano into more of a rhythmic thing here. Steadier rhythm. I really like that upper vocal part that's kind of in the background that builds with a little crescendo. Cool. Oh, all right. Going into a little break, I'm assuming, because we just put filters on everything. Whoa. Tempo change. This is the end? Are we coming up to the end here? I can hear those. Well, I was going to say something about the record scratches, but this is cooler. I mean, we're basically halftime at this point. I love halftime. That's why Pantera is one of my favorite metal bands. Oh, I was expecting to drop a little earlier there, but that piano riff coming into it made up for that empty space. Very nice. cool to hear a cool bass part in this style of music. This is like a late 80s, like mid 90s, like fashion week groove or something. Several with that cool bass line. Change the bass tone there, that's cool. Ooh, letting the bass player play on there when the piano player got that little groove in, that's cool. Man, that little synth there at the end sounds like Flashlight by Parliament or something. I bet you that Jayda G performs this live a lot, and it's just like a jam that sets up and plays for a long time, because there's that fade out at the end, and this whole thing's been grooving, and it's had build-ups and slowdowns. So I bet you that this is something that Jayda G performs live, and they got in the studio, and they were like, okay, well, let's do it in the studio, and they were like, well, this is how I do it live, and you go, well, you can't do it like that in the studio. That would explain the long intro and the fade out ending. But man, cool. That's a throwback. Wait, when was this made? Because there's a lot of electronic layers in there, but it has the style from the like late 80s, mid 90s, you know, like fashion dance club music. You're gonna make me look something up about this, aren't you? All right, that was a cool song with a cool groove, and it definitely got me thinking about a lot of different stuff to talk about in this video. Of course, I got my notes in the handy dandy notebook, so let's talk about it. First thing that I want to talk about is this kind of drum style that's in this song. It combines elements that I've talked about in other videos, such as 4 on the floor and upbeats and backbeat. But there's actually multiple drum tracks being played at the same time here. Whether those are samples or they are created drum tracks, I don't know. But there's definitely some layering in there. There is a kick drum. At first it goes doom, 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 doom. And then there's kind of this like pitched rolling kind of almost drum, almost a bass sound in the background. It's like do 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 do. But then later on in the song, we still keep the boom, 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 but we also get that 4 on the floor kick drum that we've talked about before in videos. Doom, 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 doom. And all of that combines the low end into a weird spectrum that normally would be very distracting, but the way it's mixed is really well, and it's really groovy. And then of course we get the hi-hat sound. We've talked about hi-hats in other videos, but here's a reminder, a hi-hat, when it comes to the parts of the drum set, are those 2 cymbals on a stand that do this. And a lot of times people keep them closed and hit them with a stick. Now, I'm assuming this is a hi-hat sample in this song, and it could be recorded off a real hi-hat, but I've made a hi-hat sound off of me saying words before. I won't tell you what word, but if I did, YouTube would flag this video. On those upbeats, in between the beat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... We're used to hearing hi-hats on every 8th note, if not just on every quarter note. But that usually means we're definitely playing on one of the numbered beats, 1, 2, 3, or 4, because let's face it, this style of music is definitely in 4/4. And so what happens is instead of having the hi-hats on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, we have it on just the ands. And. Now I know that sounds weird if I just say the ands. So if I count it like this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, you can really hear the pulse being on the off side of the beat. And that groove has been used in what I like to call like fashion week house or something. I don't know, it reminds me of fashion models and high society and stuff. In fact, a little bit of story time here. I was in Hamburg, Germany. Everybody in the band had the night off, so we decided we were gonna go out as a band. There were 6 of us in the band, and so we all picked one location to go to. Now, of course, at this point in my life, this is the mid-2000s, I've got dyed red and black hair. I'm listening to nothing but Taking Back Sunday, Avenged Sevenfold, and like Atmosphere. And so I'm all emoed up, and I find us a punk rock bar to go to, and this was a legit German punk rock bar. It was so awesome. People were spitting on the floor. Somebody broke a bottle, and they were playing like loud, aggressive punk rock. I was having a blast, but obviously that was my choice. But then we went to our band leader's choice. So he took us to a very posh club, and just to paint a picture here. Everything in that club was white. All the employees were wearing white. All the couches were white. All the chairs, the tables, the drinks, the DJ's turntable setup, everything was white in this club. And the DJ in this club, every song he played had this same or similar drum beat. And so that's what I always think of. Fashionable, high society, you know, it's like got a dance groove, but people don't really dance to it, but you kind of do because you're trying to be cool. But it's also laid back and not as intense as like festival club, like in your face, doonch, doonch, doonch. This is more laid back. The hi-hats are softer, the kick drum's softer, but it's the same kind of beat. And since we have that beat, it keeps the dance feel and the groove vibe, even though this is a more laid back, chill vibe. All right, so let's take a look at how a beat like this could possibly get made. So I have different drum sounds programmed into these pads. A lot of times that's how we work with drum samples, is instead of using keys or programming them in manually, we'll do a situation where we play on these pads. And so to create one of these drum beats, we use the pads like this. So this song also features a predominant piano part. What's kind of cool about this piano part is it gets kind of, here comes that word again, jazzy. I don't prefer that term, but hey, sometimes you got to use what works. And what makes it quote unquote jazzy is the use of 7 chords. So what's a 7 chord? So most chords have 3 notes, the 1, the 3, and the 5. And so with the 7th chord, we add a 4th note. So now we have 1, 3, 5, and 7. Let's take a look at that on the piano. Okay, so here's the first chord. It's a D flat minor 7. The 3 notes are D flat, F flat, and A flat. And so when we add the 7, we come up here and we're gonna add a C flat. The second chord is the same type of chord, just moved up a note. So now we're E flat minor 7 with E flat, G flat, B flat, and of course, D flat. And so we get a sound that sounds like this. And so by using these 7 chords, it's a little more interesting to the ear than just using standard major or minor chords. And of course, it also makes it jazzy. Another cool element about this song is it definitely follows the electronic music tradition of these builds and drops. All the way from the very beginning, when we start with just those weird delayed vocal samples, which were awesome, and then just that little bit of hi-hat and snare drum, it builds up and it adds those couple of layers of kick drums, and we add that piano, and then eventually we get that cool bass line. So the reason I'm bringing up all these different layers in the build and drop is there's a really interesting thing that doesn't happen a lot with these build and drops. So we got to a point in this song, okay, it's about time to drop and do the drop. And they do, but they also start slowing down. And that slowdown is a really cool feeling. I mean, for me personally, I thought that we were coming to the end of the song because I was like, okay, this is winding down. And then we hit this halftime thing for a little bit. So what's halftime? In 4/4, we usually have our kick drum on 1 and our snare drum on 2. And then a kick drum on 3 and a kick drum on 4. I mean, this song doesn't follow that pattern. This is just bare bone basics to explain it. And so if we're doing that, it sounds like this. And if we go into halftime, then what happens is now the kick drum is going to be on 1 and the snare drum is going to be on 3. But instead of just dropping to halftime, we actually reduced the speed, the beats per minute, the tempo down to a halftime tempo. And we rode that out, and it was a pretty cool groove. Let's take a listen to that transition, shall we? So I already know something's coming because they had put a filter on the drums and the piano, but now we're starting to slow down. So at this speed, if we were going full time, it would be like this. Boom, bap, boom, bap, boom, bap, boom, bap. Got the claps there. she got some mini Ripperton notes in that voice. Here's that transition. And we're right back in the groove. So really cool use of that slow down instead of just doing like a regular build and drop that we hear in electronic styles of music. The singer does a really great job before any effects or before any filters of doing crescendos or getting louder and decrescendos or getting softer with her own voice without electronically manipulating it. And that will always come across in a recording. Always. Sure, you can manually go in there and turn volumes down and turn volumes up, but you can't recreate a human being doing it themselves. You ever heard the statement, you can't polish a turd? That's what we think of when we're mixing and engineering songs in the recording studio. If you give a great performance in the recording studio, it's easy to make that sound good. If you give a bad performance, yeah, we can sweeten it up with different effects and everything, but at the end of the day, it's still a bad performance and it's still not going to sound good no matter how much sweetener you put on it. So because she controls that in her own voice before it even goes on the record, that's a really great musical touch in something that is usually a very kind of whitewashed genre of music. She delivers with this performance some emotion and soul into it that kind of takes away from that whitewashy the whole time. All in all, groovy tune, not usually the genre of music I like to listen to, not electronic music, but this particular type of electronic music. And this had me interested in what was like about a 5-minute long song. In fact, let's see, how long was it? Oh geez, almost 6 minutes. So the ability to keep me interested for 6 minutes in this genre of music means that they're doing something special. And that goes into all those things we talked about. That slow down, that interesting bass line, the great use of control and dynamics in the voice, the 7 chords. All these things really help it to stand out from just boons, 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 boons. So I enjoyed the tune, lots of good elements. At this point, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit that little notification bell. And if you would like me to make a video about a song that you like, let's go ahead and leave a comment. And I will sign off as always by saying, see you in the future.